as he usually is.
Brown drives, layup off the glass.
That's not the first time we've seen a superstar in green and white sacrifice his body.
Sorry, knocked away.
What is going on? First to the floor, Celtics and chill. No podcast, no agenda, no audio on our highlights. As I apologize for the delay, we were trying to figure out how we could play highlights back to you guys and include audio while you could still hear us talking. Apparently, it's impossible, so something we'll figure out for version 2 of this. But Jake, how's it going, man? As I catch him sipping on his coffee.
Look, I'm good. It's a good day, you know. The sun just went behind the clouds, which provides a perfect amount of sun right into my eyeballs. We got Phil in the chat. We got a few fellas, Brian, Fiam. Yeah, man. I stayed up late watching USA Italy. I'm on a bit of a heater gambling-wise, 3 in a row. So, yeah, I think I'm a true degenerate if I'm betting FIBA at this point, but I was pretty confident the USA was just gonna just absolutely rip them apart because
Sure.
Italy's terrible. But man, we can talk some FIBA later or whatever. But yeah, we're just chilling.
Well, give me the update because the game started quite late here, and my daughter's been waking up at like 5 a.m. So I went to bed at 9 p.m. like a good boy. So I know
You're
that obviously
good man.
the US. Thanks, Jesse. Appreciate it. And
Yeah,
if you're watching this, go and subscribe to Jesse's YouTube channel. It's great. I stumbled upon that, and we will get back to the FIBA stuff. Don't worry. I stumbled upon Jesse's channel. He goes to like almost every Celtics game and like records the whole thing, talks over it, and you can watch the broadcast, but you never get that like what's it like in the seats perspective. And
Cool.
Living so far away from the States, like having that way to rewatch games is really fun. So go check out Jesse's channel. So
Oh, that's
FIBA,
sick. Yeah.
I missed the game. So like, was it like over before it started? Because it was basically like they absolutely like they fucked them up pretty bad.
Yeah, Aussie Phil. I mean, it was a competitive first quarter essentially. I think Michelle Douglas and Brian Webster. It's a good day. You get to watch live. Yeah, look, I have enjoyed the Team USA World Champions discourse quite a lot, and I'm going to do my best to kind of touch on this stuff without offending anyone. But it is fun when Team USA does struggle. I think like there's very few sporting events where a single team is that dominant across the entire, like the total existence of the sport. Like Rugby World Cup, even though the All Blacks are typically the best, like they don't win the World Cup every time. Soccer, obviously, that's that rotates who wins that. So, but the USA just absolutely dominates basketball, maybe more so than any other sport. And so, I think everybody can understand that it's kind of fun to watch them lose, and to see all the think pieces about the rest of the world catching up. That being said, Italy's not very good, and they kind of had a soft schedule going into yesterday. So it's been funny to watch everybody be like, see, where are all the think pieces now? When it's like, well, you actually don't have to play a good team. Nico Melli was the only like ex-NBA player, I believe. But Italy was like 2 for 29 from 3 at one point. And it was just destruction. From a Celtics point of view, with any agenda stuff, I mean, Anthony Edwards is kind of being shoved forward as kind of like the next face of the league. People kind of talking about him like he's supposed to be like this top 5 guy next year. He's not really ready for that, in my opinion. So he kind of had a bit of a rough one. They look so much better when Halliburton's out there versus Jalen Brunson. Like FIBA is so much more about team basketball than anything else, and movement, cutting, screening. And Brunson's obviously really good, but he's kind of an ISO player. And so you throw the ball to Halliburton, he instantly changed the game. I was kind of hoping there'd be some Italy Paolo Banchero bad blood, because I'm not sure if you know about this.
I don't.
He kind of promised that he was going to play for Team Italy, and then switched up and now has played for Team USA, and that's kind of, that's it for them. That was kind of their only shot at like true talent on the horizon right now. The only other NBA guy I think they kind of had was Nico Mannion, who had like a end of the bench role for the Warriors. But he restrained himself on one breakaway dunk and laid it in. But there was a later in the game Halliburton between the legs off the backboard, fast break dunk. But
you got to do it, right?
Yeah.
Especially if you're up 40 or whatever it is.
Yeah.
I'm curious, Jake, like if you put yourself in Paolo's shoes, you have the chance to be like an equal on Team USA, but also like play for probably the best team, definitely the best team in the competition, or be like fucking, the man, MJ, whoever, on a team like Italy. Giannis kind of does this for Greece already.
Yeah.
Sometimes. What would you choose?
Yeah, Jokic on Serbia. It is honestly disappointing we're not seeing KP out here. But here's what I was thinking with watching Paolo. I don't know if he's going to even make the Olympic team next year. That's the thing. Like, it is no guarantee that at any point he's actually good enough that he's cracking this Team USA rotation. The fact that he's given up his time to do this in the offseason is going to give him a leg up if he wants to play in the Olympics. But, like, of the roster that went to the Olympics last year, he's not making the team right now. And so, 2 years ago, 2021 was when the Olympics was. Yeah, it's weird having 3 years in between 2021 and 2024. Feels like the Olympics is coming up quick. But, so like... Yeah, it's awesome. Like, yeah, for Paris 2024. So I'm just if I can pull up the Team USA Tokyo roster, because I'm like, he's basically a big wing. What the Team USA is really missing are like legit big men. Italy really had no shot. Like, the biggest issue with Team USA maybe has been Jaren Jackson's foul trouble. He has been he had 2 fouls. So firstly, in FIBA you get 5 fouls instead of 6. So every foul means like significantly more.
Sure.
2 fouls in the first 2.5 minutes of the game last night. Like, what are we doing? Like, that's your only job is to basically stay out of foul trouble, and he can't do it for literally 2.5 minutes. And the first one is like easily avoidable. He just cannot break that foul trouble issue in the NBA and in FIBA.
Yeah, it's interesting because there's often a disparity between like good players' characteristics between the NBA and FIBA. Like Patty Mills is a great example, and it's the inverse of that. Where he's kind of incredible in all FIBA capacities, and is at best an effective role player in the NBA. It's interesting that this problem plagues Triple J in either sense, in either league. Like, you just can't get away from that. But it's good because it's something that gives other teams just like some hope, like a chance. Okay, like their depoy, like probably best defender in the world, is in foul trouble, and now there's like a little window of opportunity for us. Obviously, it didn't work out for Italy, but it at least makes it exciting. Yeah,
well, like the NBA has gone so far into like the big men being shooters, perimeter oriented, switchiness, basically being like giant wings. Like Jaren Jackson plays the Rob Williams role in the sense that he's the roamer and he's coming over to help a lot. That's like his best role on defense. Whereas like these European teams, like when they lost to Lithuania, they have like real monsters, like the Jokic's of the world, like true big men that are like dominant in the post and just use like their Eastern European girth to really bang. Like, you talk about dimensions, that it's almost like a different dimension entirely, the size of these Eastern Europeans.
Yeah, I mean, I'll admit I've been watching it sparingly just because of how late at night in this part of the world some of the games are on. I watched all the Boomers games, but was it Nikola Vucevic? Was he feasting down low? And then is it I'm gonna stuff this name up, but for Greece, like Papagiannis or Papa Nikolaou or something like that.
I actually didn't catch. I didn't actually catch any of Greece, but yeah. So Valanciunas was dominating as well. Yeah. Yep. So these really big, the V-man. So that's what they call him out there.
Yeah.
In Lithuania.
It's a regional thing.
What we need to do? The United Nations really needs to come together and get the Yugoslavs back together because if they were able to combine Slovenia, Serbia, I know those two are part of the Yugoslavs. I actually don't know who was part of the Yugoslavs. Who was part of the Yugoslavia? Who was part of Yugoslavia? Bosnia, Croatia, Montenegro. So outside of, basically, if we could just combine Serbia and Slovenia, because those other teams are missing some some talent too. But just the fact if you're able to combine that region, just
Take their
because
best players.
like it would definitely help. Like just because the rest of the world is catching up. Like I don't know about again, don't want to offend any Americans here, but what's your like take on this whole world champions? The world's catching up.
I just don't care. Like,
you don't care?
I don't know. Like, yes, and they do it in baseball as well. Like,
they do it in
world
the
champions.
NFL as well. Yeah.
Yeah, and like, like the thing that drew me to American sports as an Aussie was just like the how grand it is. It's such a grand occasion. There's so much flair to it. The effort they put into the presentation of their sports is akin to like Hollywood productions, and like despite how much we might try in Australia with footy and AFL, I think do a better job of it with like trades and draft night and stuff like that. We just don't hold a candle to the way that the Americans present their sport. It's really exciting. It's really captivating. And, so if they want to, at the end of it all, say we're the world champions, like, I don't give a shit. Like, I know what the world is. And so it's not like, oh, this winner of a sports competition declared them the champions of the world. Like, I know what the world is. Like, it doesn't affect my understanding of the world. So if you want to call it that, that's fine. It may not necessarily be geographically accurate. In fact, it's straight up, like, incorrect, it's false, but I don't care if you want to say that. It doesn't offend me. And people who are getting offended by it, I think, probably have too much time on their hands. And we can go down that rabbit hole. Like that's just a problem with the world right now. So I'm going to stop myself there before I get.
That's actually that's been the funniest part to me. I think has been how sensitive, like to see how many NBA players commented on the post, like. Bam Adebayo, Kevin Durant, like who's going to tell him, man, this is embarrassing. Drake coming out and being like, now the rest of the NBA world thinks you're cringe or whatever. And the fact that everybody got so sensitive about it, I thought to me actually kind of spoke to maybe there is something to it. Like, and also you're right though. It's so dumb. It's just semantics. You've got people on the American side being like, well, it is the best league in the world. The best players in the world are playing in the NBA, which is factually, objectively true. The best team in the NBA is going to beat every other team, probably. But then again, you watch these games though, and it's like, if Real Madrid plays the Nuggets, they're probably going to lose. They're going to lose. But if these single game elimination nights where Lithuania can just get hot for one night, March Madness style, like kind of anything can happen. But yeah.
Well, what about this, Jake? In my life, we don't settle matters with our fists. We don't settle matters with our words. We settle it on the basketball court. So why not? USA versus the world.
Yeah, dude.
Sudden death matchup. FIBA rules to keep it fair, or maybe some sort of combination of NBA rules and FIBA rules. You play for it. America wins. We get to call ourselves world champions. We get to call whatever local franchise who wins our local competition, we get to call them world champions. The world wins. They take back the belt of holding that status, and they have to call them American champions. I just think it matters so little that you could use a silly approach like that to solve it, and maybe donate the proceeds to charity or whatever. Well, it's just so dumb. It's very dumb.
We've been trying to come up with a way to fix the All-Star game. Like the All-Star game, thankfully, kind of worked in Celtics fans' favor in the sense that now Jason Tatum holds the record for highest scoring All-Star performance. It has definitely coincided with the least competitive All-Star games in history.
I won't hear it. That man here at those points. He heard every single one of them.
He had to knock down those threes. He should have. I really wish he would have saved some of those makes for the playoffs. But maybe this is the way to reignite the competitive spirit of the All-Star game. We go Team USA versus the world because we go Jokic, Giannis, Embiid. Man, it's just such a giant lineup. I just need to pull up a top 100 list in front of me so I can jog my memory. But like Jokic, Giannis, Embiid.
About the world team here, what the world team would be. Yep. Like Porzingis, man, they're all giant. Talk about dimensions. It's actually hilarious. Like, and this is what I'm saying about the big men. Like Sabonis, all the international teams, their best players are all big men. So
Giannis and Doncic. Oh, this team is spicy, dude.
Team thick.
Team,
Is it the standard American diet that's slimming down? I mean, that can't be. There's no.
That's
correlation
definitely.
there,
Well, I actually got into a Twitter argument with someone who was complaining about Luka. Well, not complaining. Was saying that like Luka, it's not his fault essentially that he's out of shape, and I was like, definitely. I mean, I don't know how you could kind of argue that it's not his fault, but the premise was that like the American diet was like hard for him to adjust to, and that was why he was having trouble staying in shape. And I was like, so how does that apply to like Giannis and Sabonis and all these other guys? So it's like Sabonis, they're all big men outside of Luka. So Luka's going to be the point guard, and then who are the wings? It's just like Siakam can kind of. Oh, Lowry. This team is giant, dude. This team is the giant most big team in the world because Lowry can play some two guard.
Yeah, look at this. This is insane.
Yeah.
So this is the best non-American players in the world right now. Yeah, I mean Giannis alone gives you a chance, and then Luka, Embiid, Jokic, Ben Simmons, number 7. Is this an old list?
Yes, this is definitely old list because I saw that the Gasol brother Mark is on there. But like
right, okay.
Towns is also playing for the Dominican. So Siakam and Lowry finally are like not pure big men. So you go Luka, Lowry, and Siakam, and then you got Jokic, Giannis, Embiid. Like this team will just beat the shit out of the Americans.
I mean, I suppose they would, but then you've got Curry.
Yes.
What is the game plan?
Correct.
And maybe I don't know. I don't want to like digress too much here, but like this is the perfect opportunity for the coach to be like, all right, Curry, you cross half court, you jacking up a shot. If you don't do that, I'm benching you. Like, like why haven't we seen that at least once in our lives in some form or fashion? Because we know the man can do it.
Yeah.
Just give it, and this would be against this lineup where getting into the paint is basically impossible. Steph Curry, maybe Trae Young, just jacking it up one step in front of the halfway line.
I would love to see it. Man, Adam Silver, man, this is your answer. Like, at least people will be keen to watch this, like, humongous European team try and take down, like, Damian Lillard, Jason Tatum, and Devin Booker, which would be fun.
Now, as we shift to some Celtics stuff, I'm trying to stay out of, like, podcast host mode and just be a bit more chill.
This is good. And if anyone wants to talk about anything in the chat, like I saw someone talk about Bronny earlier, and I couldn't find a report on it.
Well,
I just saw like some tweets.
I had it up here. So Hardwood Houdini, who,
I mean,
like they're just people hustling in the Celtics content creation world. So I'm not going to say anything about them, but this is what they do. Rumored draft target could pave way for scoring GOAT to join the Celtics. And the subtext is that Bronny James, whoever drafts him, is going to have a chance at landing literally the scoring GOAT in LeBron James. So I guess we could start there. 0 upvotes here on Reddit. I don't know if you guys can see that.
Battling.
Yeah, it's unsurprising. They don't do particularly well Hardwood Houdini articles on Reddit. And I mean, just this is almost dumber than the World Championship argument. Like,
no.
First of all, we would just not want LeBron James because it goes against like who we are as a team and as a franchise and what we've built.
Okay, interesting.
And at this point in his career, I don't know, it just feels like you're like adding dangerous chemicals to something that you've perfected in the lab for years, and suddenly you're adding a level of volatility to it that could make the whole thing explode. And then you probably if he's going to be if Bronny's going to be a first round draft pick, I think I saw him slated at 24 most recently. First of all, Brad Stevens definitely trading back any first round pick he has for multiple seconds. And secondly, you've got to give guaranteed money to Bronny James. We don't even know if he can play to get like 6 months of LeBron James before his like skeleton gets pulverized into dust from oldness. Like, it's just not a good idea. It's not a good idea. It's a terrible idea.
Interesting. Because I disagree. Here we go. Because all great points. Firstly,
first of all, folks in the chat, tell us what you think. We got to involve the chat. Sorry, James.
Of course, please. No. It is interesting because, well, one, the question is going to be: is LeBron James going to be willing to take a minimum deal or like a very big discounted deal because the team that ends up like drafting Bronny in like the 20s or whatever is probably not going to have the cap space. There's usually like between 5 teams max have like cap space to sign someone for like 40 million. So chances are LeBron's not going to be able to go to that team. So firstly, is LeBron going to be willing to take a minimum deal to go follow Bronny? That seems very unlikely to me. Even at age 40, LeBron's going to still be like a $30 million per year player, in my opinion. Chemistry-wise, have we perfected the chemistry recipe? Have we perfected the chemistry recipe? Because some would argue that we definitely haven't, considering we haven't won the title yet.
Well, we just haven't seen that perfection manifest on the court yet because the season hasn't started. But I think we all know Brad Stevens is a genius. He's perfected everything. It's not our fault the season hasn't started yet. We haven't seen perfection from a chemical standpoint. But I don't know if you add LeBron James now, like so Wayne Spooney, obviously a huge part of the show, just published an article on Celtics blog a few days ago talking about Tatum's passing. It was something I haven't got it verbatim, but the title was basically like the Tatum passing problem. And it's very much through the lens of nothing to do with Tatum being a bad or unwilling passer. In fact, he's quite good at both of those things, but more through the lens of integrating Kristaps Porzingis and looking at Porzingis' usage rate historically and how Tatum is going to have to factor in essentially getting Zinger the ball as part of conducting a well-formed offense. You add LeBron James to that mix, like this is where I sort of switch off because I'm like it's too dumb to even go down that road. Like it's just going to be way too messy. And then you've got this ball dominant guy who you're taking away from everything that Tatum has earned to put himself in that position to run shit. I don't know. I don't think that you could sell it to the Jays either. They've spent so long competing against this guy. To add him to the mix, it just feels messy.
It does feel a little messy, but at the same time, like you talk about how the Celtics' biggest issue, or I talk about how the Celtics' biggest issue is like crunch time and closing games. LeBron is money, crunch time. Like I don't know the clutch gene thing. LeBron is clutch. LeBron is big time. LeBron would like to run pick and rolls and pick and pops with LeBron and Tatum, LeBron and KP. Like I even at age 40, if he's playing like a sixth man role where he's playing like 23, 24 minutes a night, I find it hard to believe that he's not going to he would really help us. And it would be like, it's such an emotionally very weird thing to even consider. But let's say this, 2024 draft. So LeBron's under contract, I think, for 1 more year, and then he's a free agent. Is that right?
I think so. I don't know. I haven't looked because Anyway,
I'm looking it up.
Thoughts clear on it.
because what if the Celtics have had he's got a player option for 24-25 for $51 million. So it's a cool idea that he wants to go play for his son. He doesn't actually have to do it immediately. That's going to be interesting because LeBron was a top 10 player last season. Like, as much as we all have been scarred by LeBron ruining our lives many, many times, the fact that he's still a top 10 player, like he played 48 minutes in a closeout game in the conference finals at 38 years old. He actually gives me confidence in Al Horford's ability to hang around longer than his current contract in some capacity and still be impactful, just because of these guys that take care of their bodies are kind of starting to prove that we have to completely adjust how we view them, especially when they're big. Like Chris Paul at his age, it doesn't seem to matter because he's 6 foot tall, but LeBron's 6'8" and monster and strong. Al Horford 6'9", 6'10", can shoot it, can still kind of just be big and be positionally sound. I can see him being competent at 38, similar to LeBron. So does LeBron hang on an extra couple of years, earn a couple extra, hundreds of millions of dollars, and then he can start to play the field a little bit? Does Bronny slip to the second round? Do they start to be able to maneuver where he can actually go? But Ben, let's say 2 more seasons, the Celtics make the finals, lose next year, make the conference finals the year after, lose again. LeBron James is now angling to get to Boston for whatever reason. Maybe Bronny doesn't.
Sorry, I just vomited in my mouth.
Maybe I don't know what's wrong with me. Maybe I'm the problem here.
No, I mean,
I'll do it. I'll fucking do it.
We're on different sides of a line here. And like I want to be careful how I choose my words. Like I've been equally like reckless with my approach to other rumors in the past of like, fuck it, we should do it. It's a good idea. But I'm too conscious of like the delicate balance that we've built. Like it kind of has been a slow ramp up with the Jays, if you think about it.
Yeah.
There's already been multiple iterations of Celtic teams with the Jays as a part of it. Like going back to the IT years and then Kyrie and Hayward and, you know, it just feels like now we're onto a really good thing and Brad's tinkering and he's added Zinger and it's like an enhancement to what the Jays do and, you know...
That's what I'm saying. In 2 years, we will have tested the Zinger experiment will have kind of run its course one way or another. Like, and we'll know whether or not we want to run that experiment again, or it's time to make a volcano that explodes in your kitchen instead of the Zinger experience, and maybe that's the LeBron James experience.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see.
Yeah, I was just going to say. Firstly, Marcus. I don't know, but glad you're back. Whatever you're going through, stoked that you're back and you're enjoying some Celtics content. That's awesome. Whatever it was, legends. And then it looks like there's some people in the chat that have a bet. Nate has a bet with Viom. If you guys can, I say, okay, please tell us the bet and we'll discuss it right now. For you guys that don't know him yet, Nate the Lakers fan have a bet going on. Please, Nate the Lakers fan, tell us what the bet is. And Sam from How About MCs, you're about to pull it up there. Yeah.
Spotted in the chat, Sam LaFrance. Welcome, sir. Trivia Bonanza finalist, I believe. And
exactly right.
Next Tuesday night, Jake, Sam, and Greg from I clearly didn't get enough sleep last night. From the Green with Envy podcast, we'll be going head to head in our Trivia Bonanza there, which is going to be awesome.
Aussie Phil, I'd rather lick the buttons of an overused elevator than see LeBron in a Celtics jersey. Give yourself an uppercut, yes. Jake. I actually think this is totally fair, and this is. I just want to win. I just want to win a title so badly. I want to see Jason Tatum hoist that trophy. But yeah, is making the deal with the devil worth it? Because most likely what will happen, we'll do it and it won't work. Because that's just like most likely you don't win a title every year. So it just will never have been worth soiling myself. Just going to a place like that. So maybe you guys have convinced me that it's not worth it. But look, I used to truly, truly despise LeBron. I forget if I've told this story on the podcast before, but it was through a traumatic experience in year 10. I forget exactly the year, but it was the Game 6 Heat Celtics, LeBron ripping the heart out of the Garnett Pierce Celtics, maybe the most iconic LeBron James game. I was living in Singapore at the time, similar time zone to Australia, and so it was an American school, and we were all watching the NBA at lunchtime pretty much every day, and the amount of bandwagon fans for the Heatles era was disgusting. I was a Heat fan. D Wade was the first basketball shoes I got were D Wade shoes. I was a huge D Wade guy, and then LeBron went there, and it just ruined the Heat for me. I loved LeBron before that. I hated LeBron, and Game 6, I have the entire cafeteria we're watching around someone's laptop. I'm in front row, Celtics fan, in front of the computer. Everybody around me just like, yeah, fuck you, Jake. And I'm like, none of you guys can even name 4 other players outside of the big 3 on this Heat team. It was the worst. So trust me, I hated LeBron more than anyone else. But I got to a point where I felt like I was actually missing out on appreciating LeBron. I truly wish that I was alive for Michael Jordan, right? I was alive, but I wasn't conscious. Born in 1993, I was under 10 years old by the time he was gone, and so I didn't get to see that. So the fact that I got to be here for LeBron James, I had this kind of come to Jesus moment where I was like, I have to start at least appreciating him. And so for the LeBron kind of late Cavs era, even much I hated him, I started to like actually appreciate how great he was. So maybe this is why you guys got to go through this experience with me. You got to go through your LeBron James vision quest and
Sam. We love to read.
oh man, yeah.
Did we talk about this? First of all, just to address everything.
Oh
you
yeah,
said,
got it.
So that game you're talking about, the Game 6 LeBron, I watched that
Wow.
game alone in a staircase at work. Different, like it's a different kind of sadness. No one is taunting me, but the silence is deafening in those moments when you've got no one to comfort you at all. So that's just. And then I haven't had the same journey as you as learning to appreciate LeBron James. Like. I guess in a vacuum, I acknowledge his greatness, but I don't want anything to do with it. And I'm glad that it's dissipating. I'm glad that his father time is catching up with him.
So am I, to be clear. So am I. But anyway.
The bet here, courtesy of Nathaniel Cranshaw.
This is crazy, dude.
The Celtics win 18 before my Lakers do. Then I have to become a Celtics fan forever and to sell my Lakers stuff. So currently the Los Angeles Lakers have 12 championships.
I was going to say, I'm going to clarify this here. So this would be the Lakers' 13th championship and the Celtics win their 18th. Yeah. So this is insane. I would never make this bet.
It's not a winning bet because 12. I mean, you've got to pepper on 6 championships there to get to 18 compared to the Celtics one.
Right,
it just doesn't seem likely.
Yeah. Even I was taking it is who wins the 18th versus who wins the 13th first. This is an insane bet to me. I would never make this bet. I would never be able to. How would you like if you're a true Lakers fan? Like if you're a diehard Lakers fan, how are you going to do this? Like what do? You need the Men in Black like the memory wiping thing that goes back to like your first memories of basketball. Like how would you even go about doing this? I don't know how you would do it if you had to do it.
And you lie to yourself and suppress facts in your mind every day.
Well,
do it.
I can't do that. I'm bad at that. I'm like awful liar. Like I've never been going to be able to. My parents have always caught me on pretty much every bad thing I've ever done. I just can't lie. So this would be really difficult for me. Like, and especially like if you lose this as the Celtics fan, which you won't, obviously. True. Especially 16, yeah. So really they're on single digits at this point. I don't even know how many they've got. But like once LeBron leaves the Lakers, they're going to be going through they went through a decade of wandering through not even mediocrity, just the bottom of the barrel. D'Angelo Russell, Lonzo Ball, Brandon Ingram, they picked in the top 3 years in a row and had nothing to show for it. Well, then I guess they won like a title.
Win a championship.
And they won a title.
and just, Nathaniel, like we are just fucking with you. Like, it's a Celtics podcast. What do you want us to do?
Yeah, well, yeah. I don't know.
The bubble was a sham. While we're going to move on to another topic, I think, but while we're doing that, like folks in the chat, let us know where you're calling in from, whereabouts in the world are you? It's an international operation here at First to the Floor. We're obviously in different locations in Australia, so curious to hear where you're all. I mean, Boston is probably the most likely response, but I wanted to scroll down here to this report by Adam Himmelsbach. Whoops, as my window renders and completely knocks me out of the right spot.
Sorry, we know what it is.
Yeah, so Blake Griffin, as I try and find it. Here we go, Himmelsbach. The Celtics would likely welcome a return by big man Blake Griffin, who played well last year and was a strong locker room presence, but for now that appears to be unlikely as Griffin considers his future. I wonder who the source is. Himmelsbach's like pretty tapped in, so like pretty legit. What do you reckon, Jake?
Yeah, definitely more tapped in than us. Not by much. Not by much. No. This is very disappointing and very sad. I hope it ends up being wrong. I hope that Himmelsbach, like maybe Blake Griffin changes his mind. The theory we've been working with is that Blake Griffin's just kind of waiting for training camp to end so he doesn't have to go. What are they going to do with that 15th slot then? Because that's kind of a bummer.
Well, in some other tweet that I read in the middle of the night, because I don't know about you, Jake, but like I'll wake up. Aussie Phil, I'm curious to hear if you do this as well. I'll wake up like at 1 and 4 a.m. and like quickly check Celtic reports. Like it's just, I can't not do it now, so I just do it. And something I read at that time was that they're looking to keep that roster spot open to see who shakes loose, getting cut after training camps,
Right.
or to sort of make a pivot during the regular season based on need.
That sounds smart, I guess. Like, in theory, we don't really need Blake Griffin. I thought he was excellent last season for what we asked of him. I thought he was legitimately an impact player in 10-plus wins last season. Really, really good. I was like, I actually think he should be playing over Grant when the playoffs started because Grant could not make a decision with the ball in his hands to save his life. What, you're not a subscriber
To the
of
Globe?
the Boston Globe?
No, Washburn, he just sends me all of his stuff. You know,
What are you
I don't
doing,
follow him
mate?
Before he posts it, so I'm in behind the. But there we go. We got the first paragraph there. Not a lot to go by, but I think we get the gist. We get the gist.
Yeah, I'm not sharing passwords with anyone on that one, Boston Globe, if you're listening. Yeah, this is because so in theory we shouldn't need Blake because we brought in a big man. Like the front court was relatively thin last year. One, because Robert Williams missed half the season, and two, because Al Horford didn't play back-to-backs, and we didn't have a third big man. But now we've literally brought in someone who should be our third best player potentially, depending on how well Derek White plays next season. But to be our third star, our fourth star, so we shouldn't really need Blake. Like the front court is now really, really deep. And so he becomes relatively redundant. I think now you're looking at wing or guard. Like, are you able to upgrade the Peyton Pritchard spot? Are you able to upgrade the Hauser spot? Do you get an injury to Peyton Pritchard, Malcolm Brogdon, Sam Hauser, where you need to fill that area? That's why I don't know about this Porzingis is not great defensively thing.
You don't think PP can fill that area?
I think he can. Look, depending on the time of day, depending on the role, depending on the hole in the roster that he needs to fill, I think it depends. I think the role is very important.
This podcast is hosted by young boys. Okay, cool. So, I mean, I think we can all agree, right? And folks in the chat, let us know, like, if you had your choice, just bring back Blake Griffin, right? Like,
yeah.
We've talked about it on the actual podcast. Like, we all just feel the vibeness that he brings. My words are coming to me today.
I actually think it's important. I actually think the vibeness is important. The vibeness, you send out Marcus Smart. Like, I had a conversation with a new friend the other day. He's an Oklahoma City fan, and he was like, bro, how you feeling about Marcus Smart? He's like the heart and soul. It's like, yeah, dude, I'm really scared. I was really sad, and I showed him the video of you and me reacting live, and he was like crying, laughing, being like, dude, I felt your soul leave your body. And I'm like, yeah, my soul did leave my body, along with Marcus Smart. So as far as like culture and chemistry, day-to-day vibes, I actually do think that that's kind of important. Like the cohesiveness, the togetherness of a group is important. Like how many teams talk about how they're close on and off the court, and Blake Griffin he was famously a bus one boy for someone that was like a superstar, not just on the court, off the court, Kardashians, like real pull around the league from like a cachet perspective, jumping over Kias, like bringing the boys together.
And he also did this.
Picked up the foul.
Have faith and have patience.
Yeah, no doubt. Smart picked up the foul there. Siakam went 1 and 2 from the line, and a slam dunk and a foul.
Let's go.
BG. Fucking bring that guy back, man. He's still got it, clearly.
This is the thing. I actually thought he was helpful. I thought he could contribute, especially in that role. I wonder if maybe now he's like, I really don't have a role. Like last year, he was like, okay, well, I'm the 3rd/4th big, and now he's the 4th/5th big. So, like, does he want to at least play a little bit? That's fair to me. Like, I like playing basketball. Maybe he wants to play too.
Also, Philip Hart, you know we love you. Appreciate the call out. Yeah, well, look, hopefully, I did kind of hope that it was all code for we're just not bringing him back until after training camp, right? Which is what happened last year. Although something I read recently, and this is not often spoken about in that sort of conversation, is that there was sort of contextually or situationally, because that's when we realized that Rob Williams was going to miss some time, and then they signed Blake Griffin. So it wasn't like they always had him circled and just waited until after training camp. There was some circumstantial reasons for that, but it worked out as far as like what we got from Blake and what we needed from him, so we could always do that again. So we'll see.
That's a really good point. That's a really good point. Like he was the third big. Well, don't forget our Noah Vonleh was also there early and contributed.
Great game one against
Great game
Embiid.
Great game one against Embiid. He was good against the Heat the next game. He helped us against the Magic early in that season too. I was like, Brad's done it again. And you could argue he did do it again because it was free and he literally helped for several games. So, you know who we should look into is Bruno Caboclo. He's been dominating the FIBA. I think he was 2 years away from being 2 years away. Has anyone checked if it's 4 years later? Because it might be.
We took it to training camp last year.
Shit, we did. Yeah, you're right. We did.
Yeah,
we did.
And I regrettably went live on a podcast being like, "This is the guy. Like, he's going to be the 12th man on our roster." And then that did not turn out to be true. I got shat on by you and Spoonie. I think mostly Spoonie in the chat afterwards.
Hey man,
but, I'm not going there again.
He's looked good in the FIBA tournament, but that is definitely... It is interesting how different like FIBA and NBA seem to be for whatever reason. But so maybe he is not the answer. Well, if you had to choose one... Okay, if let's say Blake is not an option, what position is it? Or is it purely just waiting to see if an injury happens or if Hauser's not ready, Brogdon's not... Brogdon injury, Pritchard's not playing well. Hauser's not ready, Brissett hasn't hit, Banton hasn't hit, Walshy's not ready. Rondae Hollis-Jefferson, bro. The Georgian Kobe Bryant been cooking out here.
Of all the like new signings, O'Shea Brissett is the one that I'm sort of least sold on, and like now we've got the injury concern as well. Grant Williams is out the door, and I know like Brissett is meant to be, like a
version
light in some level, but I just don't necessarily trust that he's going to I think we're going to see a lot of him early, a la Noah Vonleh, and then like not much of him late once he reveals himself to be not much of a contributor. And believe me, I hope desperately that I'm wrong, but that's how I feel about O'Shea Brissett. So I would love to add some like redundancy at that position, and Blake Griffin would have been exactly perfect for that. So I think like a stretch wing. I know that's not really the correct term, but like a wing that can maybe defend threes and fours, and maybe can be a small ball five as well. And as I say that, it's like that's a level of talent and utility that you can't really get in that position.
Can defend multiple positions, be big man, rebound.
Hall of Famer.
I do agree they should sign that person. So yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you there.
But I mean, let's try and strip that down a little bit though. Like, do you agree? Like, positionally speaking, like someone at the 4 is kind of what we're looking at in lieu of Blake Griffin, which is why we should be looking at Blake Griffin to begin with.
Actually, don't. I think the wing depth thing is overblown a little bit, just because there isn't really a lot of wing minutes to go around when your two best players are Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. And if you're missing one of them for the playoffs, then specifically if you're missing Jason Tatum for the playoffs, then you're done anyway. So no matter who you find as wing depth, I don't think is really going to move that needle. Whereas I think the point guard situation, I can see Malcolm Brogdon maybe not being the perfect fit anyway, plus having the injury concerns, and then Peyton Pritchard. I don't think anyone. I mean, I personally don't believe that he's like can be your your second guard on a championship contender. I think him at the third spot's good, but Brogdon with the injury risk, if he's just not clicking with that second unit for whatever reason, no reason to really think that, considering he was Sixth Man of the Year last year. But that's actually where I think front court, you just can't assign any more resources there. I understand that we've got injury concern, but like you can't have Rob, Porzingis, and Al and then assign too many more resources to that rotation as well, especially when Cornette's totally fine, in my opinion. I think it's the point guard spot. Like, can we just still get Tyus Jones somehow? Can we get DeLon Wright, who I like? TJ McConnell? Problem is those guys make a little bit too much money. So that's the thing. There's a reason these guys are on minimums, or there is a reason these guys haven't been signed. Like, it's tough.
Yeah, I'm definitely in support of going into the season and seeing what we've got and having some flexibility with an open roster spot. I think helps with that. And maybe the biggest thing though is looking at the Brogdon impact and how impactful or not impactful he is in a 6-man role, because that's a large chunk of salary that, like, theoretically, right, you can break that down and diversify that salary allocation into two players who are still impactful at two different positions. And that takes a lot. You've got to get multiple teams potentially involved. You've got to add, got to incentivize that kind of deal with draft picks, which we do have, and then make the call as to whether or not you want to use those draft picks in that fashion, rather than knowing the constraints, salary cap-wise, coming down the line. Do you not want to instead save those picks and use them so that you've got rookie scale players on your roster long term? So there's a lot to consider there. So for that reason, I think I'm okay with just going in as we are right now and then pivoting accordingly.
You know what's awesome is having this conversation, like being a little bit concerned about our 15th man, our 14th man. You know what could be happening? We could be the Milwaukee Bucks and being like, who's going to be our closing player? Who are we going to start?
Leave, bro.
like who's going to be the guy that we close games with in the conference finals? Is it going to be Pat Connaughton? Is it going to be Grayson Allen? Is it going to be Malik Beasley? We only have 4 guys that we know for sure can play at the highest level and close a playoff game. That's a problem. That's a real problem. This is a great place to be. Like, we have one of the deepest rosters, one of the most top-heavy rosters. Like, it's the best roster in the league. The only thing that we're missing is the fact that Tatum is not just like a tier 1A player yet. Like, he's not Jokic. Yes. He's not Jokic. He's not Steph Curry. He's not Giannis yet. That's literally the only thing that is holding the Celtics back from like going to a new level, right? Like roster-wise, right now. I don't think there's anything else they can really do.
Now, just looking through the chat here of where people are calling in from, unsurprisingly,
The USA.
The USA.
Yeah. Who would have thought?
I think we're going to get to some highlights. Question I've got for the chat is, and we're going to do a podcast on this subject next week sometime, is what is your one biggest concern for each player on the Celtics? And I'm not saying in the chat, like, list one concern for every player on the roster, but maybe if you've got a top 2 or 3, I think that's where we're at in the offseason, to be honest. Like, yes, it's interesting. It's an interesting conversation, but it's like, how much deeper can we dive? And I think this is, at least for us on this podcast, is an uncovered subject.
Yeah.
And we don't have to get into it too much now because we're going to do a full pod on it. But is there something that comes to mind, like your number one concern?
Yeah, and we're going to exclude health, I think.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Because that's like obvious.
Point.
Yeah. Injury to Rob, injury to Al. Yeah. I will say, I don't think we need to worry about injuries to Al. Can we, like, I keep saying that.
Ooh,
like,
touch wood.
I know touch wood, right? But like that would be like, that's not something we've ever had to worry about before. Whereas, like, Rob and Porzingis and Brogdon definitely makes sense. Have we lost Ben just now?
We've lost my camera. For some
Okay,
reason.
I was just like, we lost him. But yeah, so you're still here from an audio perspective, which is a downgrade.
gonna get you to talk for a minute while I try and
Just
fix
vamp.
the camera, if that's okay. Yeah.
Just vamp for a bit. Yeah. So injury-wise, I don't understand really the concern with Al. Like, he literally outplayed Embiid, the MVP, in the year 2023, the year of our Lord. So I don't really have too many concerns. They're not going to play him on back-to-backs again. He maybe loses a slight step, but like, yes, he missed all of his threes in the playoffs, but he had his best shooting year of his career last year. He's not quite as good at switching, but yeah, Al from an injury point of view, not concerned really. Oh, there he goes. But yeah. So what have we got? Jaylen Brown's handles is a concern. All right, Nate, settle down.
Yeah.
Wait, have I got it right? Is Nate the Lakers fan? Have I got this
so.
right? Okay, cool. Yeah, I'd be saying that too. But because they are a concern. That's a great point.
Mm-hmm.
The hustle / energy. Yeah, you gotta worry about the dog when we lost the top dog.
Paul Pierce as an assistant coach.
Can we talk about this for a second?
Yeah. Okay.
That Jason Tatum has is rejuvenating Paul Pierce's life. Like, I love Paul Pierce, and I've loved loved parts of his post Celtics life. There's been some rocky moments, I'd say. He's definitely having fun, but I would say he's felt rudderless, directionless at times. But if this part of his career is just like all of a sudden he's just like Tatum hype man, gets in shape, teaching Tatum, post moves. Like, how old's Paul Pierce? He's got to be like
40 something.
Yeah, right. Like, he's not that old. Paul Pierce, age 45. Like, Tom Brady just retired. Just retired from the NFL, and he's 43 years old. Like, let's get Paul Pierce back in shape. Let's get him and Tatum. Forget Drew Hanlon. I'm sick of Drew Hanlon. But if you are free, Drew Hanlon, come on the podcast.
Yeah. Yes.
Can we work on something different? I think we've done the pull up 3 game. Let's get the truth. I want to see the mid range post, the drop the shoulders, the footwork. I would love to see just Tatum go to like mid range Maestro Pierce camp once he gets. Look at this. This is great for Paul.
So much better for Paul than it is for JT, let's be honest.
Yeah. I'm guessing this is like the last 10 minutes of like Tatum turns up at 6 and Truth turns up at like 7. Well, this is the thing. I saw Tatum like dripping with sweat at like 7 a.m. and Pierce is in the building. Like, that's a big deal to me. Like, Pierce has been his blood has been like 69% THC and alcohol, it feels like, since he's retired.
Tatum's sweating for the workout. Paul took the stairs up to the gym level, also sweating. I was thinking about doing like an edit of this video and making it so that Pierce is like rolling a Finals MVP trophy.
Oh, nice! definitely do that.
All right.
That's great.
Well, look, we should get to some highlights here, because part of it was just to like hang out and watch some, unfortunately, audio-free highlights. But Shaquille O'Neal on the Celtics is a good one. So, folks in the chat, like, we want to hear what your favorite obscure Celtics highlights are. And while you take a moment to think and type and all that stuff, I wanted to let you guys know we are starting a campaign here. I'm going to do like graphics and stuff like that and videos to make this look more professional. But essentially, what we're trying to do is put ourselves in better stead with the Apple Podcast algorithm, because ratings and reviews and stuff like that determine whether or not your pride and place. If someone types in Celtics podcast into Apple, whether or not you even appear in that search. And so what we've talked about doing, and I'm going to sort of stumble my way through this explanation a little bit because we haven't come up with like a proper script yet, is essentially it's a giveaway. And it's a custom Celtics jersey with Walshy on the back with his number 27. Yeah. Walshy is the nickname that we've anointed Jordan Walsh with, and you can go into the entry to win that jersey, and we'll mail it to you anywhere in the world. It will be free, and the way that you enter yourself into that is to leave us. Yes, it couldn't generate the graphic of 27 for me, so you just have to believe that it's got the number 27 on it. The way that you can go in the entry for that is to leave a 5-star review for the First to the Floor podcast on Apple Podcasts. Leave a review and that 5-star rating. And then in your review, you can either leave your Twitter handle in the review so we can contact you, or you can screenshot it and send it to us on Instagram at First to the Floor and just tag us in that so that we know that you've left that review. Once all those reviews have come in, we'll do a big raffle, a big draw, and determine the winner, and then we will mail you your own Walshy jersey, which I can almost guarantee will be the only Walshy jersey to exist in the world.
For now, once there's one, there's going to be multiple. I know we're going to decide by the best review, and obviously that's very subjective. So, the funniest, the most touching, the most creative, whatever, that's going to be the one that wins. But yeah, it's a help us help you type situation. We'll plug it a few times, but let's go. For those who don't know yet, do you want to know something about me compared to Josh and Walsh?
Yes, we do. Absolutely. Let us know.
Both we do.
Why don't we, while VYOM is typing that up, let's check out these Shaq highlights and then go from there.
This is a great call. I don't even know if I've ever done this.
I almost saw Shaq live. I went over. My first time over to Boston was in 2011, the Shaq season, but he was well and truly out injured by the time I got over there in April. Let's check this out.
So I didn't realize that they were like really good with Shaq. He just got injured.
Look at that. Look at that celebration. Dude,
this would have been electric in the Garden, dude.
Hell yeah.
Are you kidding me?
So good.
Dude, that almost looks photoshopped. That's awesome.
Amazing.
That's awesome. Do you have any other ones lined up, or do you want me to give you a suggestion?
Give me a suggestion. What do you got?
The two that came to mind, either Tatum rookie highlights or Jordan Walsh high school highlights. Because Jordan Walsh college highlights are also good, but he was in this role where he wasn't really able to touch the ball. So, and he's only 19, so it's only like a year removed from when he was playing high school ball. I was born, we got the Jordan Walsh thing from VYOM here. I was born on March 2nd, 2004, and Jordan Walsh was born on March 3rd, 2004. You're 1 day older than Jordan Walsh. Wow, so you're a young person. You're born
what is that,
much
19?
later than me. That's 19. Yes, wow, you're born the same year as Jason Tatum as well. Wow.
Same month.
Wow. And...
Oh, I get it.
yeah. You didn't get... Yeah. They're all 19, man, including Jason Tatum. And Clean Lover was also born in March 1994. Mate, 94, thank God. I was like, I thought I read 2004 as well. I was like, this is insane. Philip knows Dr. J. Mate, VYOM, enjoy it. Enjoy those teenage years while you still got them.
Yeah. I was also born in March. But
nice. What the fuck?
A long time ago. Spoony, also born in March. A lot of March people involved with the Celtics.
First to the floor. Here we go.
Yeah,
I like it.
Right.
JT.
Let's check out these Jordan Walsh highlights, and then I think we got to wrap up.
I gotta go.
Middle of the day here in Australia. Both of us have got stuff to move on to, but let us know how you've enjoyed Celtics and Chill. Like we've started this stream with absolutely no agenda other than to bring up YouTube, bring up Reddit, and just react to your comments. And it's a nice change from the podcast, I think, Jake. It's a lot of fun just to hang out and not like have to feel like we need to stick to a schedule or anything. So
mate, I had heaps of fun. This is great, and if you guys want us to keep doing it, we'll just keep doing it.
On off days. Yep.
Off days, man. We're gonna be streaming a lot come season time, so it's gonna be good.
And tomorrow, do you want to give the folks a little teaser on what's coming up on the pod tomorrow?
So we're going to do the next episode of the Eastern Conference Rivals series, and we've got Billy Reinhart from Brooklyn Nets. He's a reporter that covers the Nets. He's going to come on. We're going to talk about how this enemies have become friends now, the common ground on the Kyrie experience, the Ben Simmons situation, their off season, and how he feels about the Celtics, and just talk some Nets, and of course talk some Celtics. But so that'll be tomorrow.
Sounds good. Can't wait. It's going to be you and me on that one, and then we'll have Spoonie back with us next week sometime. So let's check out these Jordan Walsh high school highlights. They go for about 4 minutes, and then let's wrap up.
Hell yeah, dude.
Beast.
Man, he's just he's got his distinct look, just dimensions, and the number 23, clearly that's his thing.
Yeah, sure. Yeah,
I would. Would there be anything better than if Jordan Walsh becomes like the next rookie that just pops, like the next Desmond Bain, the next whatever?
Aren't we due for that?
I feel like we're due.
How many that have sort of slipped through our fingers with like Matisse Thybulle? I mean, that's maybe.
That's
example. Tyrese Maxey, Desmond Bain, other examples.
Hero
that have sort of come across our desk at some point. We just haven't held on to them. It'd be great if Jordan Walsh ended up being that guy because dimensions wise, he's 6'7", 7'2" wingspan.
Yeah,
it's crazy to me how similar he looks here.
Dude, oh my God.
He's like the same guy. Dude,
when he leaped for that like alley-oop thing, his head was above the rim and his arms were almost above the backboard. And watching like these highlights, he had that nice little pass and oh man. Like he's got a really nice feel for the game, it feels like. Like Jaylen Brown versus Jordan Walsh feel coming into the league at 19 years old.
Mm-hmm. Look at that gather.
Dude.
Gather into the dunk. Yeah, he's got nice mechanics.
Nice little pass.
All around.
Is he the best lob thrower on the Celtics already?
Yeah, he's by default. By just having not thrown a lob, he's the best. Look at this.
Oh man.
I love in interviews recently sort of talked about, I know that my role is just to enhance opportunities and life for the Jays. Like that's what it's all about for me as a Celtic. And, for a young guy to be so cognizant of that is pretty rare,
Oh, wow.
I think.
Dude, I'm so impressed by him and broadly some of these kids that come in at like 18, 19 and do these interviews. And obviously not all of them are, as thoughtful as Walsh and some other guys. But like to see some of these guys come in at 19 and be so like media trained and so polished and like understand their team context of where they're going. And like at 19, not me.
No.
Not me. Not me.
Not at like 30.
Yeah, I was going to say. Still getting there.
Just now figuring it out. All right.
Like, I love that. So, yeah, man, like if I had one wish, it would be Jason Tatum to shoot 40% on threes and probably shoot elite from pull-up threes. But if I had a second wish, for Jordan Walsh to be like the next, like, 25 to 40 draft pick that just like pops and hits like out of the gate. Everybody's like, how did we miss on these guys? How did we miss on this guy? Everybody liked him in the draft. Why did he fall? Yada, yada, yada. Can we please be the next team? Because that would be, it completely changes how you look at your team to hit on someone like that.
Yeah. Oh. And, is the computer okay?
Yeah, it's empty. That's
okay.
Drink your. That's a good reason to drink your water because if you knock it over, it's empty.
That's how we know it's time to wrap up.
Yeah.
All right, everyone in the chat, thank you for joining us. Thanks for humming along with us. We really appreciate all of your messages. It's truly the most fun thing about this is the interactions with you guys. Don't forget, we're going to officially launch this campaign on the next non-trivia podcast that we do, but the Walshy 5-star campaign is well and truly underway. If you leave a 5-star review and rating on Apple Podcasts and leave some way for us to contact you, whether it's in the review or tagging us in it after the fact, you'll go into the entry to win your very own Walshy, not Walsh, Walshy number 27 jersey. The only one in the world.
Yes.
And, I think that's it. Anything else? Any parting words, Jake, before we wrap up?
No, but we're calling it 5-star Walshy because he was a 5-star recruit. And it's really hard to come up with names that rhyme, like anything that rhymes with Walsh. And also, if you come up with a good name for the segment,
call in.
Please. Walshy the alien. Love it. Alrighty, dudes. Appreciate it.
Go Celtics.
See ya.